send everyone a link, so that should be working now, guys.
Great. Morning, everybody. You probably
Morning,
so
everyone.
we're gonna have interactions in the Q&A section. Is that right, Didier? We'll get to the end as we've gone through the demo, and then get to questions at the Q&A section.
Yeah, absolutely, and feel free to write some questions in the chat box as well. Me and Taylor will be getting to them as it goes. Obviously, Marcus will be taking us through the demo, but we will have a question time at the end there that you can, any major questions that come up, feel free to ask those. Also, just on that as well, I've just in the chat box, I've just put a bit of an agenda, just so you know if you've got any modules that you're really interested in. That's just in the agenda there. So we're going to stick to that, and Marcus will show you as well, how to kind of activate these platforms as well as make the most out of them.
All right. Well, let's go to maybe. Do you want to just describe a little bit about what we've got here on the screen here, Didier, about the desktop view?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we want everyone, all our clients to make the most out of Platform Hub. We see it as, huge value for customers, especially, the 150 per organization. Just want to reiterate that is, unlimited users. You can be subcontractors, anyone in the business not on Upvise. So we want you guys to be using all these major platforms. There's 7 or 8 in total at the moment. Today we're going to focus on 4, and based on basic kind of feedback from our clients, these are the major 4 that have the most interest. They're quite easy to activate, and they're quite easy to kind of see the benefit from your Upvise data, as well as make a dashboard to make things a bit easier for you guys to manage the data, because we know how Upvise can be sometimes. One of the holes is sometimes the dashboards. So that's why we've created Platform Hub. A strength of Platform Hub as well, it is our own platform. So we're continuously trying to improve it. We're always making changes. So definitely in the question time, if you have anything that you think might be a great feature, we'd love to hear that. There's a couple of features we've created the past couple of months that actually have been from client feedback. They've simply said, a form would be great in this section. How can we have that? And we've just put that in the development. So anything like that would be great to hear your feedback. We do, want you guys to be using it as it is, but there's always room for improvement, and we do want, I guess, the platforms to be beneficial to your business as much as possible. So any questions as we go, just message in the chat box. Me and Taylor can answer then, but any major ones or anything about improvements, we'll have some question time there.
Yeah, thanks, Didier. Really good points. I think a key one that you made about the change or suggestions actually is something that came up with Workshop in particular. There was, I think, our clients over in Luxembourg had asked for a couple of changes to the way that the Workshop dashboard was viewed. And so I think the key there is to make sure that obviously that's being communicated around the customer group, so that then it's something that they're aware of as well, and that we get, I guess, a bit of consistency. And because once we make a change that is something from customer feedback, then that's going to impact others as well, of course. So it's important that we get that feedback from everybody around some of those changes that we might make. I think the other key point that you make, which was the advantage of some of these additions and these add-ons that we've developed that have been able to extend the benefit of Upvise. So it's really to get more value out of the Upvise platform. And I know you and I and Taylor, and we've had quite a few sessions with clients where we get that sort of next level feedback, which is what else can I do with Upvise? Where else can I take it? And there's lots of plenty of opportunities within the Upvise platform to extend out the value. And so this is what I guess the development of Platform Hub has been as well. The Upvise cloud platform is set up as a cloud platform that offers up an API through the integration, and that's what we can do with the Platform Hub tool. So we've been able to basically stream data from the database and represent it in such a way that makes sense. Plus, it's also something we can extend out to other users in the company, also subcontractors or suppliers, generally. Even customers, we've got quite a few companies of ours that actually extend out the data to their customer group too. So I think with that being said, we'll jump into the agenda there, Didier, and I'll show sort of how that looks and feels with one of these demos databases that we've got set up, and I'll take it through how that looks. I'll just jump into a screen share here. How's that coming through okay?
Yep, all good.
Okay, great. So Platform Hub, as you've described there, Didier, we basically set this up as a central solution for cloud-based platforms and mobile-based platforms. One of the things that we've seen in the emergence of the trends inside the industry with digitization over the last couple of years, and certainly becoming more prevalent, is the concept of cloud-based platforms in the construction industry. And so once you start to bring that into a sort of a review of the company, of how the companies are using different platforms, you find that in each one of these platforms, there's a user management controls issues. So bringing on new team members, being able to know where those team members have access to what data, and how often they're using that data, and also if they're changed teams, because there's a lot, we know that the nature of project management is that teams can come and go based on the cycles of projects. Then you want to be able to get the users that you're not using out of the database quickly too, because from a security point of view, it's always important to consider that you understand and you know that where your data is getting access from, or where data is getting input into your databases. So I think majority of customers know that the use of Platform Hub, as you mentioned, and it's about now getting out more details and more access into these options that we've got. So workshop we've got as the first one. Sorry, safety. My apologies. Safety we've got as the first one up the list. So in the organization manager here, you can set up teams. And so I think we're fairly familiar with how to set up teams, but we can go through that. We can create a team with the green button over here. And once we've created a team, then we can add members. And now, so the members of the team, where they come from, is actually from Platform Hub itself. So if we go back to the beginning inside Platform as Sales, which is the organization here that we're looking at, one of the tiles is Platform Hub. So we've got a selection of people that are sitting in here, and the members of Platform Hub. Once we've got them into Platform Hub, we can move them into any one of the teams inside the tool sets here. So in the platform safety setup, what we've got is the WHS team as an example. So we've got a few key people here that are inside the team. And those team members, when they log into Platform Hub, they'll be able to see those information and data sets that are coming out of the WHS team. So there's some more settings in here. So as a company manager, the company managers will be able to have access. So there's two levels of access in Platform Hub. There's the manager access, and then there's the standard user. I've got the manager access here. And so manager can go in and change the settings of the team. And this is where they can set up the actual matrix of the details and the data that they want to represent. So this is sort of that build it yourself type dashboard that you mentioned, Didier. And this is something that's quite straightforward in terms of being able to set it up. So we can see here we've got 4 selections at the moment that we've developed here just to show for the demo. So we've got one as calibration of service or equipment. We've got a supplier assessment matrix here. We've got supplier insurances, keeping up to date with those, and a training matrix. And so typically training matrices will have all of these. In fact, will have a notion of expiry dates that need to be managed and kept up to date with your maintenance and compliance with safety. So for just to show you sort of what that looks like in the field itself, in the matrix itself. So this one's called calibration. You select the UpVise table for the data source. So there's a few data sources here that are looking up your UpVise data. And this one is going to go to tools. So this is finding the information from the tools, which is equipment in UpVise. We can also go to contacts and companies. So for example, the training matrix will be looking up contacts, and the supplier insurances will be looking up companies. Now, what we do then is we select the form template, and so which most people would be familiar how to build a form in UpVise. Once you've built the form in UpVise, you'll be able to find it here from the list. So this is looking up the tables and the list of forms, and typically, again, depending on which one you're going to be using, but we've got a number of form templates. I know that these are things that you give out and provide to clients and new clients as well, Didier. We've got, I think we were talking yesterday, something like 303 templates at the moment in our kit. And these are just a selection of those ones. So we can load those templates up into the UpVise database of the client, and you'll be able to pick and choose those as an example. I know we often get asked that as well as over time. It's a question of have you got a template example that you use pretty much for the industry? And we've got, as I said, over 300 form templates that we can refer to and provide if required. So once you've gone through, you've selected the form template, then you can select the field that you want to display. So there's a couple of key items. This will load up the fields from the form template. And then the expiry date. So you need to look up the field of the expiry date in the form. Once you're happy with that, you update the matrix, and it will then pull the data through from UpVise and have it ready for the standard users. So generally a manager or someone that's got some understanding and reasonable ability within and knowledge of Platform Hub is important to be working inside the setup of these matrices. But once you've done that, then basically it's deployed to all the people in the team, and the team can then use that to view the information that is ready to be able to be extracted out of UpVise.
Sorry,
So,
Marcus, I've just got a
yep,
very quick question, mate.
yep.
I think we're actually blocking the settings tab um, in platform safety there. Would you be able to minimize a little bit and show where the settings tab is? How you change that in
All
safety?
right.
'Cause I think our faces are blocking that right now.
All right.
So I
Okay.
couldn't
I wonder
actually
if
see when you click settings.
okay, let me see if I drag this video placement down, does that make a difference? Does that change anything?
Nah, I didn't know.
Okay, I can. The other thing I can do is I move the video AV over into the dock. Does that help? Still not?
Nah, still
No.
blocking it there.
Okay,
Because
what
it
I'll
is
do, I see.
fairly small settings. Yeah, just
Got it. How about is that got it there now?
yeah, you can just see just below us there. But just so you know, to make it clear,
Yep.
that is little
What if
settings.
this is the
Yeah,
settings button here? Now you can see that.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, just
Okay,
to see that once, it's always in the top right corner of any team on Platform Hub. It's always the blue settings button there.
perfect. All right,
Awesome.
great.
You
Is that
can
still okay? Is that display still okay here, Didier? The way to see that now is that?
yeah, that's all good. You can probably go back to full screen now. Now they know where the
Oh, okay,
settings is. Just
excellent,
yeah, just an indication there.
great. Okay, jump into screen full screen. Okay, so
Yeah.
as a manager or a standard user, depending on which team that I've been given access to, so or which organization I'm giving access to as well, uh, I can log into my Platform Hub from any cloud browser. I could also do it on the mobile as well. So it is relatively optimized for mobile friendliness. There is some things that are still need some tweaking, but that's certainly something we're aiming to do as we go and do further developments with is more optimization for mobile. But I can jump into platform safety here now on the list on the left here. So I can also, just a quick note here, I can pin the apps view. So I can either remove that so I get a full screen, or I can lock that so it's actually pinned there. I'll just remove it just to be able to show the whole screen and show what we can see here. So I've got the WHS team. I click into the team here, and now I can see a nice, neat dashboard of all my important data that's coming out of Upvise. And again, as I said, once you've done the matrix setup here, like you mentioned earlier, dear, it's a build your own type dashboard setup. And this has really come about over the course of time as well, because a lot of customers had asked for sort of dashboard setup like this. But as you know, and as most customers know now as well, there's a fair bit of coding behind the scenes that need to go into the setup of Upvise to be able to code and customize dashboards. And if you're in a database, it's a one-to-one relationship, whereas this is something that can be deployed to anybody that has the access to it. So training matrix, you can see here we've got a couple of sample team members: Bob, employee, and manager. Quick standout, obviously, something that sort of grabs you straight away is the reds. And now this is obviously the expired or expiring tickets here. So we can see a couple here that are problematic. Another good item here to actually note is the traffic management ticket here has no expiry date, so it's going to be green. But it's also important to note that it actually isn't ever going to expire. But obviously the green ones are the good ones; they're ready to go, and the red are obviously due to expire. We can search through here, so we can search for, actually, so there's going to be a search for the employee, so we can search for the name. So if you've got like 40, 50, 100 different employees, which a lot of our customers have, being able to search for the employee is always important. And the status as well, so you can switch between active, expired, or no expiry in that instance. Active, ready to go, and all. So you can also search for items that are coming up due for expiry. So say 30 days, ones that are coming up due for 30 days of expiry. And so we can see here the ones that are expired within 30 days date range, but also the ones that are coming up that are close to expiry. And so we clear that, we can get back to the start. So the demo, obviously, we've only got 3 here, but as I said, I know a number of our customers have lots and lots of employees that would be needing to be populated into this, and that's why those search features become quite important. We've also got a toggle here, so we can filter the matrix item, so we can actually search by the item in this case. So we're going to search for traffic management. Now we can see the traffic management, and it gives us the employees that have that qualification. That's another important element there between the ability to search. And we toggle back onto the name. By default, it's on the employee name. Another item here to identify is the calendar button toggle here. Probably toggle is probably a better word for it. So I can toggle between the list view and I can toggle between a calendar view. And now I can see a nice calendar that shows me all the tickets of where they're at for the month. We can see obviously these two are red. Again, these ones are the expired ones, and these ones are in currency. So you can click on this one, and the good thing about this actually is another great feature is now we're going to go away and we get the details and the data out of the form, out of Upvise. So now we're looking at the form data that's in the Upvise form. If we had photos, so if we go back to when the employees are registering their tickets, they're going to be putting this in as a form on their mobile via either Sandpaper, or if it's maybe a manager that's doing this on behalf of them, they might be doing it with Upvise themselves. They could be taking a photo of their ticket and then they put the ticket in here, and we'll be able to see that in the form pictures. So some pretty cool stuff to be able to get accessibility for a WHS manager, a operations manager, the project manager, or even the company owner as well, to keep track of what's going on with their tickets. A matrix essentially is going to be the design for any one of these. So we can jump into supplier insurance, and all the features are the same in terms of search, in terms of the actual toggle between the type and the name of the supplier in this instance. And you've also got the calendar view as well as the options here. You've got the days, you can clear the days and you can refresh. So if there's anything updated in UpVise, you can just do a quick refresh to make sure you've got the latest data set. So this is an example though of how you would run the supplier insurance. So very much the same way. There's an expiry coming up, being 2021, it's green, and these ones are expired, which then you're going to have to go back and follow up those suppliers to make sure that they've got the latest dates and the latest information in terms of their insurances. Once you've got that information, again, it's somebody that's sitting in and has the access to UpVise is going to be making those changes. But remember, this is a dashboard view for keeping track of what's going on. So this might be, as I said, very good use case for managers to be able to report on what's happening in their business. Supplier assessment, we'll do the same thing here. We've got the concept of being able to run acceptable past or not past suppliers. We have companies that have done that very, very well in the past and are currently using it that way. And calibration records as well is another key one. So as you saw at the start though, setting up these matrices are basically unlimited. So you can put whatever you want in there. One thing that I think I'll note is that what we've got actually coming out now, because this was more around safety, safety focused, but we've got a new item here, Didier, that's come out today, which is platform quality. And so it's going to use much of the same feature sets here, but it's going to be targeted more towards the quality manager or quality forms as well. So it keeps this segmentation between safety and quality. And I know a lot of construction companies and other companies like to operate that way, but generally they'll have different teams. And then overall dashboard here, which is another key down into any form template. So in this example, we've got an incident injury form and a corrective action form and a SWIMS form. So what I've done is I've just selected the form template here from the list again. And once I've selected that, it populates the data in terms of the total number of forms that are getting done per month. So again, just interesting and important data for typical for safety managers to be across and incident report managers to be across. The users, you can see how many people have been submitting those forms and the user type. In this demo, we've only got administrator. And then the form detail, this is the field detail that comes from the form. We've been able to pick that out. So we can see here in this form, we've got, here's all the fields, but in this one in particular, we've got the hazard by type, the nature of injury, and the incident type. And so it gives you a nice little chart there, number count, what's going on, the splits and the relevance of those items of importance. And then you can save that dashboard so that, which is what we've done here effectively, we've saved these dashboards so we can use them for future reference. There's a toggle here we can see here, which gives us the toggle to the list view. So we can also see the forms here. And again, we can drill down into those forms and we can get the detail from those forms in particular. And so we can see like all the information that's relevant to that form. If there was photos, we'd be able to see photos too. So yeah, really easy to use. A client, if they had a standard user or a manager that was being able to get access into platform safety, they could also pick and choose sort of just other forms if they wanted to just get a dashboard view out of it quickly. And then say, look up specific field types only and find that detail and data out of the field type. But it's important to save the dashboard, because once you've saved the dashboard, then you'll have these tiles here available to pick later on. That's pretty much it for platform safety there, Didier. I think we're running just a little bit over, but is there any other key items you want to point out about platform safety?
No, I think you covered most of it there. Just kind of reiterate about the platform as account managers. So myself and Taylor can help you set this up. If you're on the silver or gold agreement, it won't be any tickets involved. So it'll be a part of your meeting. and it's, as you can see, it's quite an easy setup there.
Great. Okay, thanks, Didier. I'll move on to workshop, which was next on our list. This might go a little bit quicker because I won't have to do the background between behind the organization setup. But as you go back, we remember going to the organization manager, picking workshop, and we add the teams. And so in this example, we've added the sales team here for the workshop. I will note there's an additional element here over and above what was in platform safety is this notion of equipment categories. And so those of you who are familiar with the Upvise platform and the equipment module, you can categorize your plant equipment and have that sort of, so it's in that specific list. One thing there that is important is to identify potentially within a larger construction company the needs for different work fronts, I guess, or teams or mechanics that are looking after different particular types of vehicles or equipment. And even down to the point like where maybe you've got a drilling team that's going to be different to the excavations team, and you'll have those separated between the people that are managing it and supporting the services of those items. Another example actually is with you if you've got external mechanics that you're using, and there's a group of equipment that you don't want those guys to get access to. You can highlight the specific categories that only those people get access to. So that's in the team management when you're going into organization manager. We're into workshop, and in the team management here, you can see we've got two teams. This one doesn't have any users yet. We're setting that up, I guess, as a bit of a template database test, but you can see here the equipment groups. We've got slightly different equipment groups. And so the different teams will see different items of equipment. So that's an important one. The other actual key one out of that one, again, as a request from one of our customers, was they wanted to identify a PPE team because the items of inspection down to the detail of harnesses, they had expiry dates on each one of them, and also the maintenance. So if they did a default check, because sometimes small plant equipment can also be checked as well. So as you get into a culture of regular checking of equipment, I've seen that it goes all the way down to the small plant equipment as well. And so we've actually had safety teams have had access into here as well, where typically we understood this to be more of the equipment teams. So it's been interesting to see how that's evolving over time. But it comes from general questions and feedback, which is like you said earlier, Didier, about getting the feedback and input in terms of any changes or suggestions. So here we go into the workshop tool. We've got a key couple of items that stand out in the service status. We've got the first one, which we felt is probably the most important one, which is equipment that's overdue for service. And you can change the unit type. So there's a couple of options here to filter through. So no unit, no filter, number of units and hours. And so you can switch between that because the kilometers is generally the difference between hours and kilometers. And then we've got equipment not pre-started. So any items here that hasn't gone through and had a pre-start done against it in the field. There's a little bit of configuration in the background of all this, and I'll let maybe you talk to that a bit after this, Didier, but I'll just go through the details first. We've got equipment upcoming for service. So again, we can filter to kilometers, hours, or no unit. And we've got the ability to toggle between maintenance and maintenance date. So maintenance hours, maintenance date. We can also, a little bit like the platform safety dashboard, we could do like what are the hours coming up to that particular maintenance area. So sometimes customers and workshop managers want to go like, I need to see 50 hours out or 20 hours out, for example, because I need to be planning next week for those items of equipment to come offline, or I've got to send out my mechanic to go out to site to make sure that they're keeping that up to date. The other probably key item here is equipment with faults. Now, in my experience, over the last number of years, I've had with clients finding it that the old plant daily checklist that is a requirement for the operators to fill in every time they use a machine. It's something that typically with the paper books, I remember watching it sort of go from a single page to then having like a multi-week page because you wanted to cram it into the old triplicate books that we used to have, and would save the paper and also save the printing costs. The problem with that, of course, happened was that when you were out on site, you'd see the plant operators marking a fault on a particular item, maybe the flashing light, maybe one of the windows was broken or a mirror was snapped off, something like that, that happened just in the normal course of operating. And what would happen is you'd end up with this book of a week at least, ticks of crosses, crosses, crosses every single day. And so um, not only that, with the books, it was often that because you had to keep that book on the equipment, it was not very regular that the data or the information, I guess, would get from the field back to the office. And so um, that was a key element because the operators would find that whilst they were trying to do the right thing by doing their checks, they often felt, I guess, a little bit disheartened by the fact that nobody was really following them up. And so we've really helped to connect that field element, get the operators to feel like they've got that voice that if they do mark something off that's got a fault, that then somebody is going to address it. Somebody's going to be out there, and maybe the mechanic or the fitter will be out there in the next couple of days to find out what's going on and to fix that. And so that's been a real big win for the transfer of knowledge and also the connectedness of the field guys to the office team and the mechanics team. It does take a little bit of adjustment, of course. The other thing I'd note is that we've seen happen quite often here is because the data comes through in relative real time, it does tend to put a fair additional workload on your mechanics and your fitters and your workshop team. And so, what we identified with our clients was that there was a rating that we could apply to the checklist. And so, if I jump into one of the items here, and a typical checklist being a daily plan checklist or a pre-start. Um, that's a bad example. No forms. I'm just going to jump into this one here. So in a daily plan checklist, as you all know and appreciate, you've got a set of questions here that the the plant operator is going to be filling in. And what we've done is identified on some of these the level of urgency that the workshop needs to address the issue. So um, and it depends. Again, we've had various differences between company to company, but that's an important item to note. So something like panel damage with scratch the paintwork, for example, the workshop manager may not see that as a key priority for the for having to get an urgent fix, but maybe it's something that they could fix on the next service. So whilst the plant operator will note that yes, this still is an issue, it's not going to be something that's going to instantly take the workshop manager and then they have this big list of things to do and they have to address it. It helps them to prioritize their workload. And the other thing is that if there's a different operator and the next day that they answer the same question, when it comes back into the system as a job, in fact, it actually allocates a job to the item to be repaired. When it comes back into the system to be a job to be repaired, it'll actually alert the workshop manager that there's a duplication. It's been added or noted more than once. So that's another important thing as well. The workshop manager can identify how often their plant operators are actually finding that this issue is a problem, and how many of them are actually reporting that issue, because it helps also for double validation on items of equipment where there might be something that they have noted as an error, but maybe it was just overlooked. Key points there. I'm just conscious of time. We're going to go into equipment. So the equipment list again here. You've got the search function. We've got some key items here which you can flag equipment. Sorry, you can select which equipment is by flag. You can identify equipment on projects. So to do that, there's we've also got a form that we add to Sandspaper, which you can actually move. It's called a plant movement form. You can move equipment from one project to another, and that will register them into the different projects here. So you could also make sure you've got the equipment in the latest projects. This is also good for workshop managers to identify quickly where the actual equipment is located. Something important for them to be able to find. You've got categories. You can drill that down into the actual categories of equipment to identify sort of where the equipment's sitting, just to give a bit of a bigger filter. As you can imagine, as some of the bigger projects, customers get engaged with this. They get a lot of equipment there that they need to identify and filter. And you can also have regions as well. Now, a key new item that came out as some feedback was the requirement to export QR codes. So we've got this button here, which you can go to equipment QR codes, and you can identify a individual item of equipment, and you can just export that QR code, or you can download the all QR codes. So in UpVise, the download all QR codes is available, but this was quite a unique feature that I think one of the customers gave us as feedback. I think Brett, who's in the call today, I think it was his idea, which I thought was great, was you can select an individual item and you can download the PDF export of that one. And that may be because if you're using QR codes on your equipment, you need to get a new QR code printed out because maybe the stickers had its day. Anything else here? We'll just go through the actual equipment itself. So when we click into an item of equipment, we'll get the overall details. We'll get the forms that have been completed against that equipment. We've got the jobs, and we've got utilization. So in the main screen, in the detail screen, you can filter through to see the relative information that's important on that item of equipment. If you can see the edit button here, I'm not sure if that camera's still blocking it, Didier, but there's a blue edit button here at the top, so you can go and you can edit this information. Maybe the odometer needs to be updated, or maybe the next service due needs to be changed. You can do that from here. And the other part here in this main screen is you can see the recent activity, the most recent forms that have been completed against that item of equipment. So recent checklist here. You can go to forms itself and you can see the entire list of forms. So you can see the whole history of forms. This is where you can keep your risk assessments, your service records, the likes, any particular form at all. In fact, in terms of what you link to your equipment. Then you can see the jobs and utilization as well. And so utilization is just set through a calendar timeline, and depending if the hours have been put in there, we don't have any recent hours on this particular item, but you'd have the hours that would show up, how often that actually is getting used, and the kilometers as well on that item of equipment. So going back to the setup, I might just jump over to you just about that one, Didier, because that's a key item to consider, is that there's the data sets that need to go into the back of the form. So obviously picking our daily plan checklist form, we've got a couple of those now that we recommend. I've also seen some customers that actually have specific forms for specific equipment categories, which works really, really well. And in particular, I've also seen some that have photos of things like the cabin, photos of the actual engine, and photos of the machine itself, so they get that sort of historical view of the equipment and seeing how that's performing. So there's a few different variances of the Plant Daily checklist out there, but we've obviously got ours that works and collaborates with the workshop tool here. So that includes the priorities, and it also includes the hours, to make sure the hours or kilometers are being updated into workshop here, so that utilization's working, and also that they're getting the alerts as well. So if there's any particular fault, to make sure that it's going to the particular category. So there's a little bit of configuration there in the background. So did you just want to talk to that one, just to give the customers a bit of an idea of what that involves?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty much a two-part setup. I guess the first part is setting up the workshop data and get that connected to Upvise. So being a two-part setup, it's usually done over 2 tickets. So once that data is connected, the second part of that is actually the automation phase. So it's based off a priority list. It's usually 4 priority lists. It's 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, and 1 month. So that will affect the job automation in Upvise. So for example, if you had something that was 5 days, um, that job would be automated if that was in the timeline. So if there was 4 days before that was due, that job would be automated in Upvise, and that's just inside the workflow. So that's the second part, I guess, of that setup for workshop is getting that data connected to the point where you don't actually have to create jobs for things that need a service. That's automated, and that data is all connected there.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Didier. I will. 10:45 was Q&A, so I've realised I've just missed integrator, but we'll just touch on integrator briefly. I think the key points here to note are that it's about getting integration from other platforms. So often we have clients that are dealing with their customers, which are bigger customers. Could be the state government, could be like Sydney Water, Southeast Water. It could be other companies that have, or sorry, bigger companies that have platforms that are outside of Upvise that are operating within their business, like Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics, or Navision. In fact, it runs the assets of the business and around the accounting side. And so what we found is that there's a requirement to export data out of those platforms in a particular format, whichever way it comes out is up to that platform. But we want to get that data into Upvise, and so that's what Platform Integrator is about. It's about getting that data in a simple way rather than setting up a direct line integration, because maybe it's a not so often requirement to get that data into your Upvise version. And so this is a sort of a straightforward manual type process, but once it's when I say manual, it's fairly automated to once you've done the setup. So these are the files you'll read here that are supported by the import integrator, and you can set up templates for your imports, which are fairly straightforward in the setup of the organization manager. Again, going back to the different teams. So if I've I've got a some companies get it emailed to them, or others have like different departments that have had it exported from a different system. It could maybe just be saved in their local drive, or it could be in their email, wherever it might be, whatever the case is. It's going to be a spreadsheet. It's going to be an XLS, XLM, or CSV. And so I'd have that loaded into my local drive. I click on the import button here. Now, key item here to note is that you can see the import sheet column. So this gives you the column of where you're bringing your sheet from. So here's your headers, and then you're matching these headers to the Upvise import headers. And so you can see also here the actual the Upvise named headers as well. So we're going through and we're making sure that these are matched to the label and also the headers. And then what we can do is we drag that file and drop it in here, or you could browse and it'll open up your browser here. So quite easy to drag and drop, and then you just hit the next button, and you've imported your data. It'll give you a loading bar and tell you how long that's going to take, and then it'll tell you whether it's successful or if you've had issues. Sometimes it can be issues just depending on what data sets you put in there, but generally you'll have the acceptance of that data. It'll go into your database, and you'll be able to see that now live in Upvise. A really good use case of where that's getting heavily implemented at the moment is equipment that's coming out of Microsoft Navision, and there's a spreadsheet there that comes out and needs to be updated regularly for the guys that are in the field. They're doing the wind farm inspections, and they have lots of harnesses, and the kits that make up their harnesses are all made up by a smaller piece of equipment. Those pieces of equipment have their own unique ID, their own serial number, And if they've been identified as a fault, that'll be swapped out and a new one will be purchased. So the new serial number needs to be then updated into Upvise, so that the guys in the field, when they're doing their checklists, can see the latest serial number validated. This is the tool that allows them to do that really simply. It's an export out of the accounting package out of Microsoft Navision, and it's an import through Platform Integrator, and everything gets updated. The other thing is the key item here is that you can do forms as well. So you could import like training records. I know we've had that over many years where you've got lots and lots of training records. Maybe you want to do a bulk update. And a good example here as well was the SHEC alert, is safety, health, environment quality alert that one of the clients wanted to do. And what that actually did is it brought in an item of a notification to their team members. They actually sync that to Sandpaper, and the team in the field can go in, they can see the alert, they can put a signature on the bottom, they can hit the submit, and that validates that they've read the form and the alert, and that they've accepted the conditions of that alert. So another cool feature that's been implemented as a result of a client request. I was just going to see if I could jump onto my phone, Didier, while I'm doing that. If you wanted to touch on any final items, or do you want to open up the chat for getting going for Q&A?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd probably just mention as well, you didn't get to Planner. So might be
My
good
bad. You're right. That got
to
through pretty
just
quick. Do you want me to
yeah,
touch on that?
just quickly, because it is quite simple. It's probably only a couple of minutes to go over that.
Okay. Yep. Sure. Is there? Do you want to just have a quick chat to the features of that? I'll just connect up my phone and then I'll jump onto that screen.
Yeah, no
Let me
problem.
as I'm doing that, I'll just bring up the planner up app here for you, and I'll just connect my phone in the background if it's all right.
Yep, sounds good.
Is
Yeah, so plan.
that screen come up now?
Yeah,
There
it's
for
come
you?
up
Yeah.
again.
Cool.
Yep, we can see
Thank
the
you.
team. Might be good if you could just click on the team there and
Got that. There we go.
yep, awesome. Yep, as you can see, it's a super simple view here. So all the jobs listed are all the jobs in Upvise. So that's fully integrated with the jobs there. And what you can do is just a pretty simple drag and drop for jobs. You can also add jobs from this list as well. So I guess one of the huge benefits about this, you don't actually need Upvise yourself to access this. So, for example, if you had someone, um, who's just doing a lot of the scheduling and a lot of the kind of the job stuff, the project management, but not really utilizing Upvise, you could essentially just bring them onto Platform Hub, set them up with Planner. It's a really, really simple setup. Basically, it's a one-click setup for Planner, and that data integrates across. So yeah, you could use it for a subcontractor that you wanted scheduling jobs. Any number of other kind of avenues there. It's the same system. You can create different teams and basically give people different access there. Yep. So we can see half your screen there, Marcus.
Yeah, I just thought I'd jump in there quickly.
Yep.
So
No
I've
worries.
got that online now. Let me just where am I? Just make sure I jump back up in here. I can see. Yep. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Didier. Is there anything else? Just yeah, we've got the drag and drop. So I'll just I can demonstrate that. So it's just got to have the right date when you drag it. So you see this plant hire one. Actually, it's already over there. In fact, so this is just to add to this. It's I guess it's like a draft board as well. So it's sort of like getting it ready to go before you send it out to the team, because we've got this button here that says sync to Upvise. So once you're happy with the jobs that are all set up in a view here, and you can change these within the details here. So I can click in here and I say I'm going to change that. I'd rather that be on the 17th, and I can set the time. So I'm just going to update that. Okay, so it says I can't do that because the user for that user has already got a job assigned for that period. So that's one of the key things to it. Locks out jobs, so you can't overlap the same job or same type of job. So that was one of the other important items. But if I maybe just jump into, say, this one here, I can say I'm going to change the time. So I want to end this at, I'm going to edit it. It's going to go a little bit longer. So just quickly update that 8 to 11 instead. And then if I sync to Upvise, then that'll go the 8 to 11th. That'll then push that out into the jobs. I know another key item that you've made note of in the past as well, Didier, is this ability to send SMSs. So you can go in there, you can select an employee, and you can text out the particular individual item. Or you've got when you can go to sync to Upvise, you can actually bulk out the SMS, and you can set up that so it sends out the job details as well. So there's some key options there in terms of what you can do in terms of capability of sending out messages to the team with SMS feature. I know a lot of companies like to use it for that, to give quick updates. Now, I'm just going to jump back. What did I just do there? Just drop that phone down. Let me bring that back. I think my phone just went to sleep. I think that's what just happened then. Sorry about that.
Just had a quick question, Marcus, on the
Yep.
SMS feature. Is that included in the cost, or what? How does that work there?
No, good question. The cost of SMS is individual packs, SMS packs. So depending on how many, it's probably more about how many you're anticipating to use. If there's going to be like a substantial amount of SMSs that are going to be going out, then we would there would be a charge for that. So yeah, we've got that charge list actually set up, Didier, where we can share that out to the client if they're interested.
Great, sounds good.
Okay. And just while we're on there, just on that SMS note, we'll jump into the where you can do the configuration for the SMS. So jump into Organization Manager. Whoever's got the control over the Organization Manager can go into the team here inside Organization Manager and jump into the team itself, into settings. And then we've got this configuration here in terms of what you can configure the SMS to be sent out. You've got a few options here. You can select a job name, job start, job end date, and a job location. And you could have a little intro message here as well. So your job has been assigned to you, details there, right? That's a pretty cool little tool too to update that. So that's something that can be self-used. It doesn't need obviously our guys to set up. Okay, so I was just going to go here. We can see my phone now. Didier, is that coming through okay?
Yep, yeah, I can see that now.
Great. So we've got Platform Hub just as a tile there. You can save that to your phone so you can get access to that on the mobile. It's not a native app. It's not a native app yet. That is something that's on the roadmap to build a native app for Platform Hub. So that will be coming, available on the App Store or the Play Store. We've got Sandpaper here, and we've got our newest and latest edition of a new app that's coming out. It's called Sandpaper Connect. So this is a little sneak preview, Didier. I'll just jump into Sandpaper Connect quickly and show you a bit about what that looks like. So there's a little bit of a UI update here. You can see the menu system down the bottom is going to be a little bit different. The news integration is going to be available, so you can actually post notices and announcements through the news feature. We'll jump into the form though. You can see the forms are quite different. It's a lot more compact, so you can fit more forms in if required. And if you can see here, you've got like the arrows where you can just go into load a form in, and you can identify the form itself. So again, you can see the UI's a bit cleaner. It's different option menus we can select from here, and we've got different setup in terms of the way that the forms look and feel. The buttons are certainly a lot more user friendly, and then you've got the send feature as well. This will be coming with offline capability with storage of forms in your outbox, and also with regards to if you're offline, yeah, the outbox, if it needs to send and connect when you're up again back online. So that's pretty exciting. That's something new. But I'll jump into what I wanted to show you just earlier about the SHEC alert, for example. So if you had your worker that had the new alert that had been sent out, and you needed them to acknowledge that they have read the form and the safety alert, we can select here. Now, sometimes you'd have a company, because maybe it's not it's the actual person, but maybe you've got your subcontractors that need to acknowledge the alert as well. So they can select their details there. Now you can see the information here. It was the type was an incident, the severity was medium, the communication required. We've got to go and have a toolbox. Lots of good stuff here to read. This is from one of our clients here that we sort of put together as an overview for them. We won't go into too much detail about the information itself, but you can see they read nicely. And then you've got ability to add a photo. So that might be a photo of the toolbox that had been happening. It might be a updated their plan checklist or their ticket that they had to do. And then a really simple signature box, save that, and then submit the form. And away it goes. So that's a good way of getting communication to and from the field as well. And I know you've come up with a few times, dear, about that concept of some of the knowledge base items. So we are working on that concept as well. But this is one of those ways to interact with your team as well and get that communication and contact coming from the field back to the office. Important information like the checklist and alerts as well. Yes, so that's about it there for me. If I can, one other point I did want to note, a new feature as well, Didier, which is quite important. Going back to where we were with Platform Hub, let me just see if I can just share this browser view here. So I'm going to just show you the browser here. There's a new item here that you could see here down the bottom right, a little chat box. This is our new customer service interaction. So I know we've got obviously the tech team that are there to answer technical concerns or issues through the online support and workshop, ticket system. This tool here is the new feature that gives us ability to connect with our customer service team. So if you're asking questions of a general nature, or you want to know or learn things about the platform, not only do you have Learning Hub, which I saw that you posted, one of the team members posted that we've got Learning Hub here, a very useful resource. It's like a manual for operating all the platforms, but now we've got the ability to interact as well. And so we'll have a live chat agent if required there. But again, the majority of the time is the information should be available. We also have the ability to change the language for our international counterparts. And this is a great little feature that's going to be added or is added to Platform Hub. And look forward to giving that a bit of a run in the next couple of days. Any customers out there, give it a bit of a go. And if you've got any feedback on that, of course, let us know too. That's it for me. I will end that there. And do you want to open up for a chat, Didier? I'm conscious of time. We're a little bit over, so we just got to keep it tight.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, any questions would be great. Is there a way to open it up to everyone here and open up their video and mic?
Yep, I believe we can do that. So the attendees, if we can set them up so that they can all come in as a unlock their video and mic. I believe you could do that if you just click on the individuals. How do you want to do it? Do you want to do voice?
Yeah, I think if everyone wants to come on and add some questions and have a bit of a chat, that'd be great. Alternatively, if you want to use the chat box there, that's fine as well.
So I think I've just done unlock mic. So I think everyone should be able to turn on their mic if they. Do you want to just try that, Taylor or Augustus, if you're there? If you want to see if you can um, turn your mic on now. Oh, yep, Taylor, there you go. You're there for the video. So I've unlocked that, so you should. Yep, Kathleen's come online. Hey, Kathleen.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good.
Augustus, we've got a couple others, so we can put Q&A in here as well. But yeah, if you want to, I'll just enable the Q&A. You've got a question list here, actually. I see you put in here, Didier. So Q&A has been enabled.
Yeah, I can see one question here from Kathleen, asking why the only some upvise fuels added. Is this something that needs to be customised? Could you just kind of give us some more info there, Kathleen? Which add-on were you talking about there?
You can hear me?
Yes, yeah, we've got you.
Yes, when I looked at the safety dashboards as an example, it didn't seem. I was wondering which fields, and is there any rationale behind the scenes as to which fields that it picks up in order to drag them into the dashboard, because not all the fields were there. So I was just wondering what's the rationale behind that, or do you have to have that all customised?
Yeah, a bit of both there, Kathleen. The fields are all the relevant fields in Upvise, but there is a level of customization that you will need to kind of get the correct dashboards working.
Yep.
That's something your account managers can help you with during the setup.
Yep.
And yeah, and kind of get the details that are necessary.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah, because I played around with the dashboards, which look really good, but again, there was just one of the questions I was wondering why. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it's something that we can help you with, I guess, in the settings and in that setup there. But we are working on, to add to our learning hub there to make it, so you can do it yourself with, limited help from us in the future.
Excellent.
Great. We've got any other? Carl's put a question in here, Didier.
Excellent.
Just publish this one to the screen.
Forms. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, good question, Carl. I might hand this one to you, Marcus, and it's probably more of a Sandpaper Connect question at the moment.
Yeah, good question. So subforms scripts, we do have a limited number of scripts working inside Sandpaper Connect. So it has the ability to, for example, I'll give an example of one, which is milestones in projects. So if you go to a project first, you select your project, and then we can drop down the milestones. Now that's an important one for integration with Workbench. So you can actually bring up the cost centers. That's something that's enabled and is working in the Sandpaper Connect. The other one is for equipment categories. So you could go through, rather than selecting all of the equipment in an open list. I know that's one, Taylor, you've been working on with a few clients, but what we can do is that you can select the category first, and then you can see the equipment in that list that's available in the category. So there's some of the things that are getting worked on at the moment. With regards to forms in forms, what we do always recommend is that there's a way to incorporate the forms design. So I think it's something important that we're working on with the customers, is identifying what is the type of form that you're looking for, that you've got, that you're using, and that you're looking to use inside Sandpaper. and how you're looking to get the most data value out of that from the field. So we always concentrate on simplicity. It's always our our main mantra, making sure it's as simple as possible for the guys in the field to use, and in such a way that it's getting the data that's so super important to the business. So also identifying what is it that you're actually getting back from the guys in the field. So being able to make sure that that's tailored in such a way that they're not having to answer maybe too many questions, but the design of it is such that they can simply fill it in on the form and on the Sandspaper Connect and get it into UpVise. There is also the point to make, which is if there's certain things that you want to do with the forms data once it's landed in UpVise, like the UpVise platform is obviously, as we know, very powerful for the sort of benefits like scripting, which is unique to UpVise. There's not many other platforms out there in the world that I've seen that can actually sort of allow you that sort of flexibility. So one of the things, I guess, in terms of what it is, thinking about what it is you're actually going to do with that data once you've got it in from the field. So where the subforms can come into it as well could be that there could be some automation built into the on submit that then that updates subfields or subforms, or it updates other forms as well with populating more data sets in there. So there's some really good stuff that can be had out of intelligent forms design, and it just means that we've got to sit down and just go through a little bit of an overview in terms of what it is, the objectives that you're trying to achieve out of that. So does that answer? Hopefully answers the question.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Thanks, Carl. He's given it the cheers. Thank you. Have we got any other questions that have come up here? Didier?
Not at the moment, but I just wanted to quickly, I guess, touch on the multiple questions we have here. So this is just something to fill out, multiple choice question, just to get an idea of, I guess, how you're using your systems, how you're, I guess, using your database and other integrations. Is that something you maybe touch on, Mark, as the possibility of Xero and MYOB? I know that's a huge thing for companies at the moment, the accounting and finance packages.
Yeah, so there's some great new changes that have come out with MYOB. There's a new construction edition, and that's looking like it's really starting to ramp up. So we've been working pretty closely on the development side of the business. In Billo, the team of developers there have got their qualifications for MYOB API integrations. So they're working on the training side of that. That will be something that's on something that's on our radar, on our roadmap. Definitely something that the guys are getting skilled up in. So that's certainly one of the things that we're going to be allowing for as an integration side. There is, of course, the option of Workbench at the moment, which Workbench integrates both ways. So it can go from UpVise into Workbench and from Workbench into MYOB and Xero. We do have quite a few clients that are utilizing that option. They've also extended the value prop of UpVise by giving Sandspaper in the field. So it's sort of being able to have that whole holistic overall integrated application suite. In terms of future, though, in terms of where we're going to go, we're going to have the Sandspaper Connect going to be in the marketplace of Xero, and also in the marketplace of the MYOB application. So that'll help us to bring that whole piece of the puzzle together.
Great.
Any other key ones there?
No other questions. I think Brent did actually have one at the beginning. Just, I guess, about the easiest way to add a user in Platform Hub. And I guess, making it easier for them to kind of, create a Platform Hub account and start using it.
Yep. Okay. Good one. So, well, we know the steps. So that it's being able to share them out, the link to register, and then you invite them into your organization. So I think there's two key steps to identify here, which is the first one is the individual has to register for Platform Hub for their own account. And then the second one is that then they need to be invited into the organisation. And so the reason behind that is that, as we know, with the construction industry in particular, there's lots of movement around. So sometimes different teams and transient teams, casual workforce, contractors as well, will move from organisation to organisation. So some subcontractors have many organisations that they work for. So ideally, we didn't want them to keep registering a new user account and have multiple users accounts. That was something I got from feedback when we were dealing with looking around Aconex, and some of the feedback we got from there from the market was this issue around having multiple logins. And so it's about the one-step login first, and then the organizations, because the other thing is that about that is that as an organization manager, if you have a subcontractor that you're no longer working with or an employee that leaves, you can, number one, identify what platforms or where they've got access to your data at what points. And then number two, you can quickly deactivate them or disengage them from your organization. And so then they lose that access to Platform Hub inside that organization template. But they still have access under their own registered account, so they could move around if they needed to. But to Brett's point, in terms of some of the trouble that they're getting in terms of following the steps, that's something definitely we've got taken on board. We are working with a UI designer at the moment to improve and to change some of the UI design of Platform Hub. That's definitely on the roadmap for the next 6 months, and so we'll be seeing a bit of an overhaul of Platform Hub, and also the onboarding of the way that the sign-up registration is required, just to help with that particular item there, Brett. And thanks for that feedback.
Awesome, sounds good. Yeah, I think that's quite an easy process once you kind of do that and can see how easy it is with the link and then registering.
I think also, actually, it's probably a good point. I know you've raised this before a few times, is that you guys are there to be able to assist with that. And I think there's been a few times where you've even helped to onboard a few of the customers, the employees. But yeah, I can understand that once they've got the link out there and they've registered, I think it's just getting them into that organization is just the part that we probably need to improve it a little bit, and we'll definitely be working on that.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, what I've done is I've just, in the chat box, I've just put the contact details for myself and Taylor. So you can either give us a call, give us an email if you want to activate any of these add-ons, even if you just got some questions on what that setup would be like, what we need to do to get that activated. Be very happy to help and kind of, get that add-on going as quick as possible.
And one other thing too, actually, Didier, is now, as of today, we'll have the online chatbot available, so they'll be able to interact via that as well. We'll have to do a little bit of work there just to make sure that that's all working. See if we can get you guys accessed on that too, so that if they do have any particular questions, it gets diverted through to you guys if needed.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, Carl just asked about if the presentation is being recorded, and yep, we've recorded this one. So if you do want a copy of that, just reach out to us. We can provide that to you, because we know it's a good resource to ability to go back on videos and review some of the modules. So yeah, very happy to provide that.
Probably in closing, Didier, just to add, you guys were looking to plan another webinar like this. Did you have any sort of teasers that you wanted to throw out there for the next one, and when you might be doing it?
Yeah, so we're hoping it's going to be in 2 weeks' time. So I guess it's actually from fairly high demand from a couple of our clients. Is actually improvement in UpVise. We're very happy to kind of hand out and give those available, those dashboards in Platform Hub, and make it easier. But we do understand UpVise is still a data point. It's still a point of entry for data. So we will be getting a consultant potentially to come on for a demonstration of UpVise and improve, I guess, your knowledge It's probably something that I've, just picked up, kind of just working with Marcus and our consultant Joel. There's lots of little things that you can be doing in Upvise that you only know once you see that in action. So we're hoping to go over that in detail and get you guys, utilizing Upvise, to the best potential, because we do have, the 3 main platforms available, and we do want you all to utilize those platforms the best. So 1 month after that, it would be the Sandspaper Connect, and we're hoping that's going to be the launch party there for Sandspaper Connect. So that's nice and exciting. So hoping in 2 weeks will be Upvise, and then in 4 weeks it'll be Sandspaper Connect. So yeah, very happy to have you guys here, and I guess provide this information. And yeah, we're excited with the upcoming works and upcoming apps we have coming out with Sandspaper Connect.
Cool. All right, that's great. I appreciate that. Thanks, Didier and Taylor, and thanks for organising it. And I just a quick note here that I was just trying out the chatbot, and to Brett's question, how do I sign up for Platform Hub user? And so you can see here, it gives you the options, what were you asking, and how to invite people into Platform Hub. So we'll go with 3, and then it gives us the details of what to do. So this is a pretty cool new feature that we've implemented. It does integrate into the Learning Hub though as well, which hopefully we've got lots of use cases. That's one of the things too. The individual users of Platform Hub that they're logging in, all standard users should have access to this as well, the Learning Hub. So if you've got any of your team members in the field that you'd like to give them, I guess, a resource to learn more about how to use any of the platforms, this is a good solution for that, because they will have access to learning. Great. Okay.
Good.
Did you want to end the voting? That's finished there now, is it, Didier?
Yeah, only a couple of questions.
If anybody else, couple of questions. If there's any others that have come in, ideally that'd be great, but otherwise we could end that and we'll finish up.
Yep, sounds great. Yeah, appreciate everyone making some time today to go through it. Looking forward to the next one, and yeah, very happy to answer any questions and obviously activate any of these platforms.
Good.
Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.